Welcome to Divoli's Dream. I'm working on my Ford 3600. I read a lot of forums about stabilizer links on the 3-point hitch, and not a lot made sense. So I went out and I got one. So I want to show you what I did. I had to modify it slightly. So up in here, you can see, to keep this corner from touching this brace here, up in here, I packed it out with 5/8 washers. This is a 5/8 bolt, goes through with a lock nut on this side. So there's a lock nut. And that bolt, I think, is 3.5 inches. You can put a shoulder on it, which I did. So this is packed out with washers. In here, in that brace, that's packed out with 1 inch of 5/8 washers. There's the shim on the side. And I'm trying to get the view of these washers in here. Let me move that light a little bit. Sometimes a picture is better than the words. There we go. So you can see that stack of washers in there on the bracket that came with the stabilizer. That keeps the stabilizer from hitting the carrier in there. So I got rid of the bolts that came with it. I'm sure they may fit a different application, but this is my application here. Putting the pin locked in here, I can run it up and down. Nothing binds, it's perfect. Let me hang my light back here. I want to show you one thing that you got to pay attention to. So you have multiple holes in this bracket, 1, 2, 3 that I use, so there's 4. I can show you on that side better. So there's 1, 2, I put the bolt where that stud is. So one thing I can show you is you have to pay attention over here. This is the pivot point for the, I can't think of the name of it, the razor, the bar that lifts, the lift bar, I guess. So that's the pivot point. You got to make sure that this is perfectly across here, because the geometry changes as it goes up and down. So as long as this fulcrum or pivot point, I guess it's really a pivot point, not a fulcrum, that pivot point and this pivot point are across from each other, you're good. You're not going to bind up because your lengths and your geometry doesn't change. So make sure you use that hole if you're going to do it. This tractor, when I got it used, didn't have the stabilizer, so I had to learn everything. So this just happens to be, this is nice here, the slot, because you can put your pin in here and you can raise it and lower it, and that's quite a bit of adjustability, for lack of a better word. I have it locked in here and everything was fine because this bolt here lines up with this pivot point, and that pivot point are equal. I did have to loosen this bolt, and I put a bolt in here. I pulled the pin out that was in here. This is what it looked like before I did it. I just had that bolt in there and that pin. And the bolts that come with the stabilizer are thicker. So here's the 5/8 bolt, and then here's what came with the stabilizer. I don't even know what that is. It's at least 3/4, if not a 13/16 bolt. But anyway, pulled those out, got my own from the hardware store, put a lock nut in here. So I had to loosen this lock nut and that one up there, this bolt, because you want a little bit of play. You want a little bit of slop in this. You don't want it super tight. So you got a little bit of play up there. You got a little bit of play down here. I found that if it was super tight, the pin's not going to go in and out because the inside just gets racked a little bit. So keep it loose and that'll keep it tight. So I'm really happy with this. What was happening without the stabilizer bar, when we used the post hole digger that I rebuilt-ish, and I had videos on before, the post hole digger was just like a loose tooth. It was just laying down on the side, and it really took two of us to dig a post hole, one of us holding the strap. And so the stabilizer bar on my Ford 3600, we're good to go. And now one person can dig post holes and it won't be sloppy. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. You know what they say.